In a lot of situations, journalists whose views are not confirmed by the political correctness system can have a lot of problems and some intimidations. And these people see that their little girls cannot walk in Paris like before because of the immigration issues and because of the violence. You have every day to fight again and again against the political correctness activists.
All right, so today we're going to talk at the R conference about the situation in France.
Yes, hi Daniel.
Good afternoon. Hi, good afternoon. And for people that don't know you, you work at the Figaro, but
yes.
Maybe you can introduce yourself a little bit for our viewers.
So I'm a French reporter. I work for the Figaro. I began 8 years ago, I think. That is the main conservative newspaper in France, daily newspaper, and the oldest one. The Figaro has 200 years since this year.
Wow.
So this is a very old daily newspaper in France, and I do some editorials on the TV, the French TV CNews, which is a conservative point of view TV channel, raised by Vincent Bolloré. So that are my two main media activities.
Okay, so let's start with the situation in France. For people watching in the Netherlands, how bad do you think, or how good is the situation now in France? Because we have all kinds of crazy stories on the news about France.
In France, you have a very important law since more than 100 years, in 1881, which is very liberal point of view. So when you are a journalist, you can formally you can write or say anything, or almost anything. But in a concrete situation, you have some political correctness raised by the social media and some social justice warriors who can pursue you and say, no, you can't write this, you can't tell that. And so in a lot of situations, journalists whose views are not confirmed by the political correctness system can have a lot of problems and some intimidations. But what I think is thanks to some people like Vincent Bolloré with Canal+ and CNews, or the French properties of Le Figaro, you have some powerful people with a lot of money who say, okay, don't mind political correctness, we want to say what we think is the truth. And so this is a very, very good thing for the political debate and the climate of the media and the journalists. So I think that for some years we have a wind of freedom which blows on French journalism, but it's not one. You have every day to fight again and again against the political correctness activists, and some journalists have a lot of issues with their families, with the tax system, which will pursue them into private life because of what they say. But some people are very courageous in the French media, and thanks to them, we can almost say and think anything.
So the freedom of speech, I guess, is being fought back. But when you look at other issues, for example, if you look at the issue of immigration, how is that? Because I think in the Netherlands there's this view on the right that countries, especially like the UK and France, are quite in a problematic situation. Yeah. How do you look at this?
During many years, what most of people were thinking about immigration was never said on TV channels, and sometimes in some newspaper, but that was very unfrequent. So in France, during a long time, what people think about immigration was not represented on the TV channels, and most of time not written in the main written media in France. But I think that since a few years, you can assume some very conservative point of view about immigration because I think the political correctness system in France is owned by some people who have a lot of money and so a lot of interest, but whose views are very progressive. And these people see that their little girls cannot walk in Paris like before because of the immigration issues and because of the violence. And so if they're concerned too by the issues about immigration, they begin to say, oh, we should stop that. So maybe this is a way of change, but politically it's difficult to assume this issue, and the political parties who support massive immigration stays very strong in France.
The big outlier, of course, to that is on the right, Rassemblement National. Of course, next year you're going to have presidential elections. What do you think is going to happen? Do you think Rassemblement National actually has it in it to become a right-wing president, give a right-wing president?
In France, you have a big problem. That is the main political party who shares a strong discussion against immigration is the Rassemblement National, yes. Former Front National. And this party in France is very affected by the history because 80 years later, France has a very difficult memory with Maréchal Pétain, with the collaboration politics with Adolf Hitler. And so 80 years ago, that creates a very strong trauma in the French collective point of view. And I think that is wrong, but le Front National is associated to this political system and to the collaboration with Nazi Germany.
Do you think that is fair?
This is very unfair and wrong, but for a lot of people who think that immigration is a big issue, who have some conservative point of view, to vote for le Rassemblement National is not morally possible. So this party, with the strongest against immigration, for now has no chance to win the elections. And each time this is the progressive candidate like Emmanuel Macron. Tomorrow this can be Gabriel Attal or Edouard Philippe who win the elections. But they are supported by a little minority. But the majority of French don't want to vote for Marine Le Pen or Jordan Bardella.
So you expect then to have the mass migration keep going and other of the problems to stay in place. So what do you think will happen then with France if nothing changes?
Yes, we have a chance. That is at the European Parliament, the right-wing politicals like François-Xavier Bellamy began, but they just begin it, to find some compromise with the centrist and the right-wing, not nationalist politicians. Mm-hmm. So thanks to this gathering of all the right-wing's point of view, you can begin to vote for some texts which permit strongest control against immigration. But it's only the beginning, and maybe if they pursue their efforts, you can build an anti-immigration efficient political system, but we have to wait and see. And the European point of view can help some French people who don't want to go alone against the immigration, but if other countries, and maybe like the Netherlands, but before Netherlands, the Denmark, the Italy of Giorgia Meloni, if these countries show the direction, so French people can say, okay, we go with you, and thanks to the European Parliament and the gathering of some political parties which don't many talk between them, but right now only about immigration, they can say, okay, we have to build something together in order to do what's good for France.